Now, payday loan companies which offer quick-fix loans at high interest rates are to have their charges capped. The firms, many based in the high street, have faced long-standing criticism for their annual interest rates, some of which have reached over 4,000%. Now, the new watchdog, the Financial Conduct Authority, is to be given the power to cap the rates these lenders charge, bringing Britain into line with many other countries around the world. Our business correspondent Sarah Smith now reports.
In austerity Britain, one industry is thriving. The payday loans business has increased fourfold this year alone. Lenders can charge what they like. Annual interest rates can reach 4, even 5,000%. Until now. MPs are about to pass a law that will give regulators the power to cap the cost of borrowing from lenders, often described as legal loan sharks. This is just one of dozens of payday lenders popping up on high streets everywhere. These guys charge a typical APR of over 1,400% a year. But the industry say that's not really relevant because these are meant to be short-term loans. What matters is borrow £100 today, pay back £125 next month. Well, that's all very well, but what happens if you can't pay it back next month? Anthony Young found out what happens, to his enormous cost. He borrowed £240. Eventually, he had to repay £750.
I was a little short on cash at the moment, and obviously I'd seen the adverts kicking about TV, and I obviously hadn't taken it into account how much the interest rates were, because I hadn't really sort of thought about it. I just thought you can get money quickly, and that's quite appealing to some people. Obviously it was to me. The bigger picture is that you end up having to pay a lot more than what you do end up borrowing in the first place, compared to normal loans you'd get off your bank. Some of these have like 4,225, which is obviously in the small print, which people don't read, they just go straight for the money.
More and more people are taking out payday loans to pay their rent or bills, to buy food for their families. And these people often can't pay it back 30 days later, so their repayments spiral out of control. The new law won't set a top interest rate. Any cap will be up to the new Financial Conduct Authority, and it won't come into force before 2014. A lot of people would like to see these payday loan companies simply driven out of business, and if capping the amount they can charge does that, most people would say that was a good thing.
Well, we are a bit worried about that because although you're right that the interest rates are very, very high, we are worried about where people would go for credit otherwise if they can't get credit from mainstream companies, and at a time when we know that living standards, the cost of living standards is getting higher and higher, people do need to have access to credit, and we're worried that they won't have that with a cap.
Payday lenders love the UK because until now there's been so little regulation here. Other countries operate strict controls. The industry argues that could disadvantage borrowers.
A lot of evidence suggests that if you start to put price controls, for example caps, you end up having unintended consequences like reducing the amount of credit available to certain individuals.
People struggling to pay back payday loans often find themselves snared in a spiral of debt. A limit on how much lenders can charge may help some borrowers avoid getting caught in that debt trap.